How's it going, guys? How is everybody doing? So, I'm very pleased with the last live we had. We had some amazing guests on there. Thanks to Afiz, thanks to Kevin. It was a beautiful, planned live that went as planned. But in addition to Afiz and Kevin talking about the Abrams and the Commander, we had some other amazing guests. One of them being Adam. Now, I've never met Adam in my life, besides that live, but what I wanted to discuss was some things that he brought up. The Abrams has a 2700 watt hour battery. Now, I'm not going to pretend to know anything about batteries, okay? I don't. I know very minimal, but I will learn. But here's the thing. He mentioned that we could possibly extend the battery of the Abrams. In my opinion, that's not a good idea, but that's just my humble opinion with someone who doesn't know much about batteries. And in light of the recent events concerning batteries, I'm even more reluctant to do anything in terms of modifications to batteries, as should you as well. But he did bring up some very interesting things. I'd like to combat that by saying adding any more weight to the wheel is going to be a negative, in my opinion. Now, for the few people that are out there, like people who go on Marty's trip or who do long road rides or whatever, I'm sure it's going to be beneficial to them. So let's just hear what he has to say. And guys, I'm curious to know what you think about his idea.
What that means is that, oh, who you look, what is this? Who are you, sir? I'm sorry, but your background looks like as if it's from like a video, like some type of movie or something. What's up? What's going on?
Not much. I just clicked on the link and it happened to work. So,
well, do you ride? Do you ride an EUC? Because if you don't, you're out.
I love I love what you're doing, and I wanted to tell you a couple things about the battery on the Abrams.
Okay, thank you.
So people are comparing Abrams against Monster and against Sherman, which both have larger battery. But what I came up with is I've dealt with batteries a bunch in the past. So I actually have Abrams on order right now. And I'm not worried about the battery because for most of my riding, Abrams battery with 60, 70 mile reach will be fine. But here I'm on the West Coast. If I want to go for one of the Marty's rides and do 100 mile ride, there are two ways to actually take care of that. One, you can have basically a seat that internally has another battery in it. So you can either use it to charge the wheel when you're at a stop, or you can wire it into the internal battery circuit with a current limiter. So basically a widget that is 2 by 2 inches square, and you go from external battery to the widget, and then from the widget to the internal battery. So that's how you can solve it, by having extra external battery, which may be inside of your seat because there is always room between the top of the wheel and the seat, or you can simply keep it in a backpack. So you can pick up, for example, one of those
Are you
watt-hour batteries from Gotway.
Hello, are you suggesting we add an external battery?
It's a good idea. Yes, it can be done. Yes.
Kevin, go ahead, talk.
Yes, it can be
Okay,
done.
so
Yes,
second way to take care of that is to actually build a custom battery pack that will fit inside the Abrams enclosure, because there is actually a lot of empty room.
That's right.
Especially if you were to remove the handlebar, then your entire area on the center of the wheel opens up, and you can put actually another pair of batteries on left and right inside the case, in which case you may be at 4,000 something watt hours.
Sure, but that's going to make it heavy though.
Yeah,
yes, but that's only for like special occasions.
Yeah, I know. So that is truly modular then.
Yes, it's,
Yeah, and look how much room there is left between top of the wheel and the seat. You could slide a battery in there.
Or
Exactly.
make Brian's Zoom wheels a battery. His seat
Yeah.
need a battery.
and when the battery warm, it acts as a heater as well.
This is so
That's
tall.
right.
Look how tall this is. Some people are saying just get a fast charger and you'll be good. But I'd really like to see the true range. I want to see a true range of this wheel. You know what I mean? We might not even need extra battery.
Yeah, a bit two range test.
Yeah, real range test. The problem, Adam, with adding batteries in general, as you know, is fires, man, because you're gonna have issues with BMS. You need the right BMS. You need the right wiring. I mean, where are you gonna source the battery from? Are you gonna build it yourself?
So you have to use the current limiter widget in between. So they're super simple. There is only 2 transistors and a couple of resistors in there. I will be prototyping that as soon as my Abrams shows up. So I will wire up my Abrams both of those ways and test each way what it does and how it behaves. So you know, of course, if you have internal battery, it's nice because you don't have anything hanging outside of the wheel. But then that battery is almost permanent in there. In my case, I'm gonna be doing. I'm planning to retire my car and just use Abrams to commute to work, which is only 40 miles a day. So I don't need the extra battery. I only need the external when I go for a ride with Marty.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
I was like, why do you look?
How
like
far do you commute?
I commute maybe let's see, 15, maybe 10 to 15 miles. It's not that bad, but the thing is, where I commute, it stretches. It's all stretches, and it's not like stop and go. So my MSP, which I have right now, when I used to work in the city, was perfectly fine because I would stop, I would go, there'd be traffic, etc., lights, people. So my battery is not constantly being drained. Whereas where I work now, it's literally stretches. And even though the speed limit says 35 miles an hour, people are doing 50, 60, and there's barely any lights. So it's constant drain on the battery, constant drain.
But 60, 70 mile battery of Abrams should be enough for you.
Of course, absolutely.
Yeah.
And if it's a good wheel, I would get it. But the Commander it's giving me everything I want besides the look and quality of the Abrams. The Commander is just amazing, man.
Oh, I love the Abrams idea because you know, the waterproofing is really good. It looks like the on Kevin. What's Kevin's channel? EUC?
It's EUC upgrades.
Upgrades, yeah. He showed how the motherboard sits inside that hunk of aluminum that acts as a heatsink, and it's phenomenal. There is not going to be any noise because there is no fan needed.
The motherboard in the metal casing, which also is a heatsink.
And the fact that it's sealed inside that aluminum tab, you can probably pour water on it straight up and it'll be fine.
I'm very curious to see that. But Daniel Knott asked, what about BMS line connection veteran use?
Well, if you add external battery, then you're going to have your own BMS on that battery. So
That's right. Yeah.
On the current limiting circuit, you could add a buzzer so that if there is internal problem with the battery, you would have another buzzer.
That's just too many issues. But we need to see the real range test. Once we see the range test, I think we can determine things because they were mentioning that the motor seems to be customized. Kevin was saying that the motor of the Monster is a lot heavier than the Abrams. So maybe there's some...
It feels heavier.
Well, he's saying that he feels like there's not a lot of hunger there. So it doesn't draw a lot of power compared to the Monster.
Yeah, they're both 100-pound wheels. I think Abrams is like 99 pounds when it's assembled. So it's like Monster, but it feels a lot lighter because of the torque.
I'm personally not up for modifying wheels like that, so that's out of the door for me.
That's okay. I'll have it done immediately.
What's your qualification for speaking like this?
Now, at this point, I asked that question because I wasn't sure what qualifications he had. This is a live show. I need to verify this guy. So he gave me his qualifications. He was quite qualified on paper. I still don't know the guy.
Are you a technician, battery technician or something?
I'm electrical engineer. I do automation systems. We design here automation systems and then we manufacture them. So
Really?
So I've done a little bit
So
with
he's quite
batteries and the circuit, the current limiting circuit is like stupid simple. You can look it up on the internet. Just put their current limiting circuit. It's like 5 components. Non-electronics guy can do it. And I may turn it into something that you guys can buy at cost of parts from us. Because I have all the machines to produce electronics here.
Wow. Do you
so
have
that-
a channel?
that's
Do you have a channel to show the detail of the Abram battery mod?
Yeah, I'll
Leo
hook up with you and maybe we'll do it on your channel. Once I have all the data and I have material, I can shoot the video here and send it to you so you can put it on YouTube.
Oh yeah, if you would like to do that, sure.
Great interview, right? But then I had one more qualification to ask. What wheel do you ride? And this is what he said.
Yeah.
So what wheel do you drive right now?
Oh, this is my first wheel, by the way.
What?
Yeah. I've been riding motorcycles all my life. So I have this 900-pound Harley that I ride. So to me, a wheel that weighs less than, let's say, 200 pounds, it's really light.
Okay. Interesting.
If you can balance almost 1,000 pounds, you're fine with 100-pound wheel.
It's a different world, I'll tell you that. Just so you know. Do you know anyone around you that have wheels?
Yeah.
And you've tested them out?
Yeah, I tried. I'm gonna have to get my own and do the learning for a couple days before I go riding with people.
Yes, I recommend that.
Yeah.
And even if you buy your Abrams, which is your very first wheel, I recommend you park it. Try another wheel first.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
Do you guys have any questions for Adam? He's an electrical engineer. He makes things. I was mostly concerned about the Commander because I feel it's the best of all the worlds that I want, that I'm interested in. I like the Abrams because of the quality and the build quality, the design, everything looks great.
It's gonna be like Sherman. Abrams will slide in, and all of a sudden, everybody is loving it.
No, you're right. You're right. It's true because with the Sherman, it was the same thing. Like we were reserved, and then when it came out, then you couldn't get it anymore because it's like it was in short supply. So, I mean, if I could get both, I would. I would get the Abrams and the Commander, to be honest. Yeah. But I don't know. I want to see that range test. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So thank you, Mr. Adam. Any more questions?
I will contact you once I have the circuits figured out, and I'll send you all the data, and maybe I'll shoot a quick movie so you can review it.
Sure. Yeah. I can tell you're into movies because your background looks like cinematography.
Yeah, I do all the product-related videos, so
okay.
Not really for YouTube, but for the company.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you, Adam.
Take care. Bye.
Do call again.
So besides all the laughter and all that stuff, it was a great live. I'm really thankful to Adam for chiming in. But I did gather a few things. Number one, he did say he worked with batteries in the past, so hey, he's a battery guy. Number two, he mentioned that the seat, because he mentioned that you could put the battery in the seat. Good idea, but what's interesting is you could, what's this light? But he mentioned there would be two main uses. The first would be charging the wheel, okay, and using it for more range. But at which point, of course, if you're using it for recharging the wheel, then you wouldn't be using it while riding. So you wouldn't have more range anyway in that way. But it would act as a good backup in case you ever run dead. Now, what I'm hoping from Leaperkim is this, is that we know that they released the Sherman, right? And the Sherman has a 3,200 watt watt-hour battery, this is a beautiful thing for such a compact size wheel, and it's done great wonders for many people. I don't hear anyone complaining about Sherman range or anything like that, even at speed, even doing crazy speed runs. With that, I'm thinking, how is it possible that Leaperkim could make a mistake and release a wheel, a massive wheel at that, 100 pounds, fully assembled, with such a minuscule battery? But then you think about it, they have a custom motor. Now, no word yet from Leaperkim regarding that motor, but what I gained and what I gathered from Kevin and Afiz is that it's less hungry, meaning it doesn't draw a lot of current or power in general. So that's a good thing. Maybe it's just, and they also mentioned that it's a very efficient wheel. So I would like to see actual specs on what that means. Do a range test and let's find out what that actually translates into. Because if you have a very efficient motor that does not draw a lot of current or power from the battery itself, that will translate into more efficiency, hence more range. So let's see if that actually works out. That's on paper, right? So, okay, so another thing is that one of my subs mentioned that the Abrams is using the Samsung 50E 21700 battery. And the documentation, what's interesting about that battery is that the documentation claims its max discharge rate is 9,800 milliamps. What does that mean? Well, apparently, he was comparing it to the EXN at the time. It has a higher discharge rate. What that means is the battery is not inadequate to supply the motor with all the current it needs at any given time. So the discharge rate is good, but what it says here, it's the max discharge rate. So we still don't know what this battery will be discharging at. You see what I'm saying? So it could have a high discharge rate, which is good for the 3,500 watt motor, but we don't know at what capacity Leaperkim is allowing this motor to draw from the battery. So there's still a lot of unknowns. So if in fact Leaperkim is using the maximum discharge rate of that battery, that could be a good and bad thing. The good thing I just mentioned is that the battery will not be working as hard. Number two, this could mean less range, obviously, because you're asking for more than you have to give. I'm not sure how this is gonna work, but I'm very curious. I think the range test is gonna say it all. Overall, guys, this was an amazing live. The information gained was very helpful. Hopefully this helped you guys in some way, but you can't get something out of nothing. That's the basic laws of everything. So, unless you're a magician, and I don't believe in magic. You have a massive beast with a very minuscule battery with a massive motor. It just doesn't look good in terms of range to me. What do you guys think in the comments? Let me know what you guys think. I'm not a battery expert. You guys out there who do a lot of battery testing and battery research, let me know what you think. Okay? Is that custom motor from Leaperkim hiding something from us? Something good. Till next time, guys. Happy riding.